Yeah.
Trapped.
What's this? Huh? The learning experience for your next job. Probably United States for me.
That's right.
What's it? Building across the way.
It's 9 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. Okay. You have the agenda before you. Are there any additions or deletions? Commissioner Heiser?
No.
Commissioner Olson?
No.
Commissioner Pelton?
No.
Commissioner Kleeman? And I don't have any, well, I do have one addition. We didn't take care of the interstate engineering documents that they had provided to us at the last meeting, so that would be an addition. And I think we can do that when James is giving his report. And also the 11:15 communications commission meetings. An email was sent out, so we do not have to deal with that on the agenda. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Kleeman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Olson. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And the minutes were sent out. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes from the December 21st meeting?
I move to approve as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Pelton to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Olson. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Okay, engineer reports. Can't. Civil science.
Good morning.
Morning, Carl.
I hope everybody had good holidays. My report should be pretty brief as most of our staff was out over the last week and a half, but anyways, on 86th Avenue, that project, we need to get with SHPO and kind of discuss our future outlook on that project. 92nd Avenue is essentially complete. We're just working through final easements. I do anticipate that one going out to bid, hopefully in 2025 and be built. 100th Avenue Northwest, I forgot to change that on the paper. Those plans are complete. We do have the permit. I do have one easement to finalize yet. We're all in agreement on that project. We're just waiting on the family's attorney to give final go-ahead on those documents. So I anticipate that happening fairly soon and tentatively scheduling a February bid opening for that project. Any questions so far? On 12th Street, working on the permitting on that project as well. There are some cultural sites along that road. We are working through those right now. I do anticipate that avoidance will be what we do on that one. I think we can tighten up our grading and get past those. 16th Street, we've completed the grading design for that project. We are working on finalizing the plans. We are also working on the 404 permit on that. There are some significant cultural sites on that one that we have to work through. I would like to bring that up as well when I meet with SHPO in the future, when I get a time that works for everybody. The 2025 projects, 20th Street, 86th, and 98th. We've completed all the field surveys on those projects. We're working through the grading designs on all three projects with good progress and are evaluating our environmental and cultural impacts. We'll start putting our 404 permit applications together on those here in the near future. 2026 projects, we're kind of in the planning phase right now with landowner coordination beginning. I did receive a few callbacks over the past week with generally positive support for the projects. We'll begin survey on those in the next few weeks as well. So, any questions?
No, it's not.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. Hey, Darren, are you on? Darren? Not yet. You can hear. Just give him a minute here. Otherwise, we'll move on. I did get a message from Darren yesterday that said he would be online.
You just pass him and come back. Okay, if he comes on,
What? Yeah.
just go on to the next one. I think we can do that.
See. Okay. James, why don't we move on until we hear back?
Madam Chair, good morning,
Good morning.
Commissioners. Okay, I'd like to start with 109th. Still waiting on those that second group of businesses to comply with negotiation signatures. Once they do, we will revisit the residents opposed to the project. Still targeting that bid date of February 20th in hopes that we can continue good communication with those businesses and individuals. On 27th, this paragraph's a couple days outdated. We have received our core permit, and we had the second to the last individual come in and sign easements on Tuesday. So we're one away. We anticipate advertising for bids before the next meeting so that we can make that February 5th bid date. Any questions on either of those two? Okay, on 82nd South segment, plats will be finalized this month. We can begin securing easements for this project. The Corps has finished the review and issued the permit. Bid opening is currently targeted for February 20th. And on the north segment, corridor design continues with some challenges avoiding ARCI sites, forcing us to push the Corps application submittal date to mid or late January. This may push our projected bid date to May of 2025. Any questions on 82nd?
I don't believe so.
How about
Okay.
118th, or sorry,
Oh, go ahead.
the MSA, I wanted to bring up the MSA.
Yeah.
that-
Yeah, so, last meeting, the MSA or contract basically with Interstate Engineering was presented, and we didn't act on it, so be a matter of approving that or not. But, anybody have any questions or anything to?
One thing I do, this, if you look through this documents here, there's 30 some pages of the documents. Is it really necessary to have that much paperwork to do work for the county?
I believe it's a standard.
It's a standard EJCDC, and I don't think the other firms necessarily do an EJCDC, but that's pretty standard for us with our clients. We did have one in place, and it timed out. We had it in place for 6 years, and so the new MSA is
It's been updated.
yeah, and it is an updated version, so it's a little more lengthy than the last one, but we went through and X'd out what we didn't need, so.
Okay.
Has the county attorney reviewed this?
Don't know if it was sent. Yeah, she had it.
Are we renewing the MSA for new work, or is this to complete the work you've been awarded already?
No, this would be for new work.
New work? I'd be a little critical of you here. Are we awarding new work? You haven't completed a lot of jobs from back in 21 and 22 yet.
Right.
I'd kind of like to see you finish them projects before moving on to new projects.
Okay.
That's just my opinion, though.
Will this affect the 25 projects?
The MSA?
Yeah.
The projects that we currently are working on?
Yeah.
No, we're under contract for those. The MSA would only be for looking ahead the 15th Street project that we talked about, that we got emails on.
So it'd be my understanding whether or not any more projects are awarded. Doesn't tie us to any more projects, but if there are, this agreement would be in place. Is that correct? I mean, the 15th project is on the horizon.
Right, yeah, yep. This MSA is for moving ahead on the 15th Street and 118th Avenue project, specifically.
I move that we go ahead and okay the MSA.
There's a motion to approve the MSA. Is there a second? Is there a second? I'll second it for further discussion. So the motion on the table is to approve the MSA for the Interstate Engineering MSA. So any more discussion?
I think I kind of go along with Dave. I'd like to see some of these projects completed before we keep giving more projects out.
Well, that would mean,
Just because we approve this doesn't mean that
right.
we got to give them more projects.
I thought these these spell out specific projects because there's like 3 of them here.
Madam Chairman, I did submit an MSA and a task order. So the MSA would be for future work. The task order is specifically for 15th Street. So if you wanted, you could approve one and not the other. But I think at this point, I don't know if there's a reason to, if we're not moving ahead.
So James, how much work has been done or preliminary work on 15th by your firm? Anything right now?
Just some promo work. We met with Mike Burrish, and I have not reached out to any landowners because I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself. So we've driven it a few times and did a little bit of corner research, but nothing substantial yet. We wanted to make sure that we were concrete before moving ahead.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Madam Chairman, I guess I kind of look at these projects, we all got bid dates on them, but there's actually not a one of them that is secure that it could happen that day. I mean, all four of these are being held up by something. And I guess I'd like to see at least a couple of them that we're going to go ahead and do. I mean, we're going to have the bid dates. If we don't get these people to sign, what are we going to do? You know, I guess I'd just like to see them get completed. A couple of these get completed, and then I'm for opening it up for more. But there's like the 109th. We've been on that a long time. And I mean, I know your situation there, but I think it needs to be completed.
Any other discussion? If not, we'll take roll call vote.
Commissioner Heiser,
No.
Commissioner Olson,
No.
Commissioner Pelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman,
No.
Commissioner Dalzell.
Yes. Motion fails.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I think we got Darren
Okay.
on the line now.
Darren, are you on the line?
I sure think so. Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Good to hear
Okay.
you. Morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I was having problems with Teams here, but I got her to work and dropped my daughter up at school. I would have been there here this morning. So, Terry, can you bring up the update report? Is that on the screen right now or?
Yep, it's up.
Okay. Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. Not too much has happened since the last commission meeting due to the holiday break, but we still got some things that we can report on. So for 2nd Street Northwest and 84th, again, we're just closing that project out with Great Tech. That was completed. They did finish their punch list items. They just they have not accepted our final quantities yet. As soon as they accept that, then we can close that out. So any questions on 2nd and 84th? All right, hearing none, we'll go to the 2024 projects and just kind of rattle through these real quick. So 117th Avenue Southwest, that one is completed and accepted and closed out. 14th Street Southwest, Schwartz opted not to start this fall. We're ready for them. I guess they'll start early in the spring here. They've got a pretty early completion date on that, so I have a lot of activity going on. But yeah, once we hear that they want to start, we'll let everybody know, and we'll let the landowners know and continue with our fencing. 119th Avenue Southwest, as you recall, we do have a bid opening scheduled for this project on February 5th at 10 a.m. That starts advertising here this next week. For 99th Avenue Southwest, if you recall from the last commission meeting, Beaver Creek is trying to get SHPO to accept off on filling over those culturally sensitive areas. That was accepted by the NDDOT on Highway 200, which is right near this corridor as well. I haven't heard anything back from Wade from Beaver Creek, but I assume their office was all gone on holiday break here too. So I'd expect to get more action out of them here shortly. That's it for 2024 projects. Anybody have any questions?
Don't
Okay,
believe
hearing
so.
none. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Trace.
Oh,
What was that?
No questions.
Okay, very good. So for Manning, talked with our water people here today. It looks like next week is when they want to have a meeting with Holly and I would imagine Joanne or whoever's on the water board on those exhibits for trying to reroute some water lines on private property that they can get access to. If you guys remember, the plat that goes through Manning, it's got some very narrow, well, some alleys that have been turned into main roads here. So everything's a little bit different here. So the only way that we're going to be able to technically get enough right of way that'll appease Southwest is to probably go through on private property. So the landowners that have that service are going to have some stake in the game as far as where that water line goes. And it'll have to be probably on the edge of their private property. So any questions on Manning? Okay, hearing none. So for 2025 projects, again, the 7th Street projects and 3rd Street, all the surveys completed. We're waiting to get the cultural and wetland reports back from Beaver Creek. They have all the data. They got all the data before it snowed, but they still have not turned over the final reports. Once we get those, we'll be able to try to do any cultural avoidance that's required to avoid any purchasing of wetland credits or cultural issues. And we're just moving forward at this point with preliminary design. Questions on any of those? Okay, very good. That's all I have at this point, unless anybody has anything for me.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you, guys. Happy New Year.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay. Jeremy.
Morning. So probably the main thing I want to talk about is kind of follow up from yesterday's email regarding the project on 105th. Specifically, Bob Dvorak's parcel. I think, I'm not sure, but I think Bob had about 10 different parcels that I think we've generally been in agreement with the exception of this one parcel, which has the 2 buildings on it. And there's really 2 buildings or 2 barns, and I think we should think about how to handle those individually, even though they're obviously all related. So there's that north structure or the north barn. If I remember right, I believe it's about 45 feet off the section line, so it's outside the statutory easement and outside the proposed easement. However, if the barn wasn't there, it would be within our grading limits. I think there's a way we can potentially design around it, but we would have to modify our design a little bit just to limit any impact to that barn. It's about, if I remember right, about 6,500 square foot building. If we were to impact it, Bob is looking for $20,000 of reimbursement for that building. And I know Bob's in the back if he wants to add anything, but so that's kind of the situation on that one. I think we can avoid it by modifying the design, but it won't be built to the same standard as the other portions of the road. And I can go through the south barn if you want to, but just kind of looking for some direction from the commission.
So Jeremy, what would the impact be by avoiding this?
So when I say we can design around it, we would revise our design so there'd be less what they call separation from the shoulder to the ditch. Mm-hmm. So it'd be reduced snow storage and a narrower ditch. It would look a little different than the rest of the road section, but you just eliminate some of the snow storage and have a shallower ditch is kind of what it would look like.
We would keep the top of the road the same though, the same traveling.
Yeah, the road width wouldn't be changed. I'm thinking of a 2.5 foot separation versus like 4.5 foot with probably a narrower ditch.
And with signage with a reduced speed limit through there that would help mitigate any possible.
Right. On the north one, the speed limit isn't going to change that very much. Mm-hmm. The only downside is you'd have less snow storage, okay. Which I don't know if Terry or anybody can tell us if there's a snow problem now. I don't think there probably is. And even our revised design is going to make improvements to it. Mm-hmm. It just wouldn't be to the same standard as the rest of the road.
What are the commission's thoughts on maybe we need to take this kind of one at a time?
My thoughts are if we can redesign around it, leave the building standing.
Is that how you guys feel, Commissioner Pelton, Kleeman?
That's the way I feel about it. It's off in our 33 feet, so, I mean, I say design it the way you have to and leave the building set.
Okay.
I think that's the consensus of the commission.
Okay. So that's what we'll do. We'll continue with our redesign. The south structure is, I think, a little more difficult. Showed in the email, I believe the barn is 25 or 26 feet off the section line, so it's within your statutory easement and obviously within our proposed 40-foot easement. It's about a 2,500 square foot building, and the replacement cost is between $50,000 and $60,000. And I guess I got to credit Al Heiser. He helped obtain that number. So what Bob's looking for is, if it gets impacted, he wants a reimbursement of $50,000 to replace that structure. There is an option of potentially redesigning around that also. What we would do is we would shift the road away from that. We'd have to shift it over about 5 feet. That would satisfy the design standards, but the barn still would be in your easement if that's a consideration. So like I said, to me, that one seems a little more difficult to come to a consensus on that one.
How far is that off the easement? Or off the road?
It's about 25 or 26 feet off the section line.
Then we'll have a curve in the road.
Yep, it would be a real gradual curve, which we've done in the past. We've designed around trees to, shift the road over 5-10 feet to avoid trees. So we've done it before. It's not ideal, but trying to work with landowners a little bit too.
That would be under where we lowered the speed limit to 25, correct?
It would be, yep.
Any other discussion on this?
I guess one more thing I should say. So let's say it does get redesigned, it gets moved over to the west about 5 feet. The road gets shifted to the west. There is another building to the west, on the west side of the section line, excuse me, but that's about 60 to 70 feet off the section line. So we're kind of splitting the buildings with the road. So we move it as minimally as we can, but it would shift it closer to another building on the other side.
So, Jeremy, do you know when a building has been within the section line or a right-of-way for 50 years or so, is it kind of a grandfathered in? I mean, I guess it's probably more of a legal question.
Yeah, that's why I looked at the state's attorney. It's probably more of a legal question, which I can't answer, but you're right, Tracy. I mean, that building's been there for, I believe, 50 years. It's never been a problem until now, and I don't want to, beat a dead horse here, but I want to bring it to everyone's attention. But it'd be really simple just to move the road over, excuse me, and life goes on without addressing that.
I'm all for moving the road over if you think you can do it and make the road good and everything.
Mm-hmm. It would have a curve, but it would meet all the standards.
Okay. Is that your feelings as well, Commissioner?
I guess my feeling is do it. If it ends up being a problem, snow problem or traffic problem, we're going to have to look at it again. I hope not, but right now I think that'd be the wisest way to go as far as the
Right.
money-wise.
Mr. Dvorak, do you have anything to add?
So is that the consensus of the commission to direct Jeremy to go ahead with redesign, moving the road as minimal as possible? Right. I believe that's kind of our wishes.
I need a motion, so that's in.
Probably.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I move that we go ahead and let Jeremy redesign the road to leave the buildings in place.
A second.
Motion by Commissioner Pelton, second by Commissioner Olson. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Just a couple real brief updates on that 114th south of Lynn Bollingers. The geotechnical soil boring should be done late next week, it sounds like. So about 10 days, they'll have those wrapped up. The other project is in regards to 103rd, the 404 permit has been obtained. So we're still reaching out, getting easements, but we got the core permit, which some projects are a little more difficult to obtain than others. So other than that, we're kind of working on some other easements and trying to get some bid opening dates set up for the next couple of months. Nothing new to report on the construction projects either. So any questions from the commission?
Madam Chairman, how many of these projects are you going to be able to have ready to bid this spring?
How many?
Yeah.
You know, I would say, well, I think last year in 24, there was about 7 or 8 we got to bid, and I think it's probably going to be in the same range. Some of it probably is going to depend on core permits, some of it's easements. We can design 10 or 12, but there's always a problem with a core permit or something. So I would guess it's probably 7, 8, maybe 9 between now and April or May.
I guess I'd like to extend this to all the engineers. We need to get these projects going. We're sitting here with everybody saying we got too much money. Well, the longer we putz with this stuff, the longer it's going to set us back. So, I mean, let's try to, even if you got to move ahead on a project, do it.
Okay. Well, point well taken.
Thank you, Jeremy. Yep.
I'd like to make some comments here. Now that I got the road portfolio, I've been kind of looking through some of the billings we get from our engineering firms. They're all over the board. There's only one engineering firm that puts down dates of service, like January 5th. The rest of them just have a time, or just hours and the rates. We got senior engineers, I would say from $185 an hour to $257 an hour. We're getting charged mileage. My question is, are we getting charged to come to meetings? Are we charging to come out of Bismarck? Last week I put together an email and Lori sent it out to all engineering firms, and I'm asking for, number one, where are we at today with the projects? When were they started? What do we got issues with? Is it core permits? Is it issues concerned of landowners? And what are we going to do to get this thing going? So I think when we have this meeting, I think we need to get some of this spending under control. We get charged for mileage. We get charged for surveying equipment. One company charges, one company don't charge us. I think we need to have some master service agreements with each of these engineering firms and what they're going to charge us. Because I look at some of these bills and I just kind of wonder, wow. And then, like I said, if one thing about it, this time of the year, you know, it's kind of an off season, I call it. And I think that if you don't have anything to do for the engineers to come just to repeat where they're at, if they have something that they need a decision from the commission, Sally's a phone call away, get put on it. But other than that, if we're just going to repeat what we're saying and we're not going to get anywhere, but I'm really hopeful that after we sit down with each and every one of these engineers, find out where they're at and where we can, as a county commission, help create some of these issues we have along the way. So, I mean, it's an issue, like Bob says, let's figure out how we can get it done. And I think we need to probably step in and help our engineers along the way where we can and just see what we can do, because I'd really love to see these projects get kicked off and build more projects. I mean, it's a wonderful thing that the county's got oil money coming in where we can upgrade these roads. Let's figure out how we can do them. So, and I think when we have our sit down with Craig and each individual engineering firm, I would like them answers. Dates when you provided service, not just a time and an hourly rate. We have no idea when. Do you charge to come to meetings? And I want to get them answers when we ever sit down. So we're kind of all on the same page. So, thank you.
Is there a particular time next week that you would like to meet?
I think when you get your information put together, just let Terry know and then he can get a hold of me and we'll take the time to sit down.
Okay.
I would like to sit down with individual, not as a group, to voice our concerns.
Okay, fair enough.
I would just add that Commissioner Pelton is road portfolio as well, so it's not only one, it's both.
He's been on all the emails that I've sent out.
Yeah.
So,
And I'd also like to say I think that's a good idea to sit down and discuss with the engineers, but we have gotten an awful lot of work done. There are those things that are held up, but when you look back at I think Lori had put together over the last several years, there's 50 projects we're working on, which is a lot to balance. And so there is a lot of progress, but there's still work that can be done. So. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yep.
Okay, Terry, do you have anything to present?
Yes, we got one utility permit.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to show up or not.
I'm going to open up.
But it's for
Okay. go
Second
ahead.
Street Northwest, the Gap Road out north of Kilder. Mackenzie Electric has one underground crossing there.
Okay.
We recommend approval for it, so.
So under the Gap Road,
Nope, under the golf course road.
golf course. Oh, okay. I thought you said
said
Gap Road.
he said, yeah.
Oh.
That's what I was gonna.
Okay.
It's just on the golf course.
Okay.
I'd move the utility permit.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Pelton, second by Commissioner Kleeman to approve the utility permit for Mackenzie Electric under the golf course road. Any questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Send here. Set that back. All right.
And then I think we're gonna try and get all the advertising done and information sent out to do the bids for the year for the gravel crushing and fencing and all that and equipment. Probably
Is that
February 20th meeting if that would
okay?
work.
February 20th. Yeah. Make a note of that here. Okay. Thanks, Terry. Anything else at all?
No.
All right. Hey, Desi, is she on here now? There she is. So, we're running ahead a little bit, but that's
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I did send out an email at the beginning of the week, and then I believe I resent it to a couple of you. There was an issue with emails. And I also left a printout at your table today. So I'm coming to you to talk to you about the wage for the interim superintendent. And I did send out all of that information, so I'm wondering if there are any questions.
Yeah, my only question, so like the vacation time hours, do we ever just pay them out versus using vacation time hours? Has that happened in the past or?
Let me go back. It's been a minute. We did several years ago, I think about 5 years ago, we paid out vacation overages just as we transitioned into our new program that would take those vacation hours away. So I believe we did that for at least 1 year, maybe 2, to give employees the opportunity to get accustomed to that. And then it went to a use it or lose it situation.
Yeah, it seems like this was a little bit of a special circumstance, so I guess I wouldn't be opposed to giving the option to the employees to, if they want to pay it out, and if they want to use it as vacation time in the next year, use it. That's my thoughts on it.
I think what you're asking, Desi, is that they don't lose their hours.
Yes, ma'am, that they don't lose those hours.
Yeah.
So either to use it or to pay it out, just so that they don't lose that completely.
I'd be okay with that too, because it's, like I said, it's a different circumstance, and I think they stepped up to help, so I don't have a problem with it. However, pay it or carry it or carry that much vacation, it gets to be a lot put on the following year too, but I don't know the circumstances.
Any other discussion, or is there a motion? I think we should probably deal with these separately.
Yes, please.
I'd move that on the vacation hours that they got the option of payout or transferring them over to 2025.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Pelton, second by Commissioner Heiser, to give the 2 employees the option of payout and or transferring to 2025 vacation hours. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, then dealing with the assistant superintendent position, where Terry Schwarzenberger has been appointed interim road superintendent. As far as his salary goes, the recommendation would be increased to $44.40 per hour, with the 25 rate being $46.83. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. That would apply his merit that he earned, and then cost of living adjustment as well.
So, what is the commission's recommendation, or
I'll go ahead and make the motion to increase his wages with the COLA and the increase of.
motion by Commissioner Heiser? Is that the $46.83?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Kleeman. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay,
Thank you so much.
Desi. Yep, thank you. Okay. So we're running a little bit ahead of schedule. Do you want to take a little break right now?
Time is
10 minutes?
9:45.
Yep. 10-minute break.
My wife hooked one of these up for me. Oh, yeah, so instead of, it's so much more precise.